What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about SoundHound. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what's really moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoundHound's down 0.48%, 1322 the low, 1387 the high, and very low volume. So 22.3 million shares being traded, 45 is the average. I've received quite a few comments and just requests for this type of video because the price action for SoundHound has been rather odd. So for instance, over the last about 5 days, it is down about 7.16%. And there hasn't really been any crazy news coming out from SoundHound, no SEC filings, no macro data. Rather, if anything, we're having some pretty positive data that is coming out. And so even tonight, we might potentially have news that the shutdown is concluding. So we're going to have that vote. And so that could be a pretty good catalyst for the broader market to roll over into Thursday with, but there's just a lot of gray fear, such as what the repercussions of such a long shutdown is going to do to the market. So such as GDP in Q4 is estimated to be hit by about 2%. And even prior to the whole shutdown commencing, I mentioned that, hey, you know what, this is something that usually the market focuses on is GDP. And so given everything, this might be a Q1 2026 type of problem. That's when the Q4 numbers are going to be released. But nonetheless, I think the kind of lag that SoundHound's been encountering has been just unjustified. But at the same time, some of it is because of the technicals. So quickly popping over here, it's been not really getting that much volume at all. And for right now, SoundHound, even though their earnings did have a lot of good bullish things, it still didn't really wow the broader market. And plus, keep in mind, over the last several weeks, Wall Street's really been targeting tech and AI for higher multiples. And that is where SoundHound as well has been getting hit because of. And so on the actual chart, as of the last couple of trading days, it is below that 10, 50, and also 100-day moving averages. So not necessarily the best. 50-day moving average, of course, is a big deal for just momentum stocks. So as soon as it did break below that on November the 4th, I think it was kind of poised to go down a solid like 20-30%. That's historically what does happen. I do feel that what has happened recently has just been not justified, but sometimes SoundHound's a difficult beast. We've encountered this time again, even when it ran up right here. Sometimes it just runs its cycle and it needs to consolidate. And sometimes even when it does go down, you see just a lot of willing sellers. That's no different than this time around. So looking at this kind of chart right here, the market position, you don't see that much willing buyers. So potentially you could see things get a little bit worse for wear. So it might be bouncing off that 200-day moving average, which is sitting at 1227. I do feel that at this price point, even though it might not be the exact bottom, it is a pretty good risk versus reward. And this is why I did sell some puts as of today. And this is something I've mentioned to a lot of you in the past, is any stock out there that you do not mind buying, just sell a put. Because that way, regardless of what happens, you get to buy it at the price you ideally want. So you get a better price. You also get to keep a premium. So I did sell this upcoming Friday, $13 strike price puts. So if it does dip below $13 by Friday, then I buy the stock. If it kind of reverses and it starts having a nice recovery, then I get to keep the premium. So it's a little bit more advantageous. So you guys do your own due diligence at the end of the day. But the technicals is also one thing that is really causing AI to really suppress SoundHound. And AI, I mean algorithmic trading. So looking even at the flow, a lot of transactions, smaller transactions. So again, that is algorithmic trading. Aside from all that fun stuff, looking at shorts, at the time doing this video, they are increasing 279,000 shares, 27.8% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 105.25 million shares overall are being shorted. DTC sitting at 1.86 days, still does signal that shorts are rather overextended. DTC does factor in the average volume in comparison to number of shares being shorted. So I'm not saying you're going to see a mother of all short squeeze type of scenario, but if you see a good catalyst come out for the short term, that could be something fairly positive. But generally, you can kind of see from this kind of purple slash teal-ish line, or whatever that is, shorts have really returned a lot. So we went from about 33% short interest, so all-time high numbers back in September, to where it is now. So shorts have really returned quite a lot. So something as well just to kind of keep in mind from this standpoint. So from the options, 4.17 million in calls, 2.6 in puts, and then 47% of all the options being done are bearish in nature. So I look at a lot of different stocks throughout the day, most of which are bullish today, except for SoundHound. For whatever reason, whoever is doing the options, which most were done primarily at the beginning part of the day, are anticipating for SoundHound to continue to break down. From a bull standpoint, you see consensus for it to be roughly around that $14.50 to $15 range by the end of Friday. Bears are anticipating for it to be kind of sub 13. And so again, this is why I also did sell $13 strike puts, because then clearly bears don't really even anticipate it to be sub $13. And I don't like chasing stocks in either direction. If things are going down, I don't like to catch falling knives. If things are really heating up, I don't tend to like to FOMO in. So I like to be considered more of the value investor. So this is why I'm not really in any rush. I could be a little bit more aggressive with my options, but this is why I did choose $13, because even the bears don't really feel kind of much lower than that. There hasn't really been that much in analyst ratings. So last one was done about 5 days ago. You had about 6 or 5 that did come in because of their earnings. So $26, $13, $15, even though Daniel Ives did give a article, he didn't actually give a TipRanks official posted rating, which is rather unfortunate. Still could come, but still it is what it is. And keep in mind, SoundHound's actually in his ETF, so he does have 30 stocks that he feels are innovative disruptors. So it's kind of weird that he has a $15 buy but didn't give a kind of update since the most recent earnings. So maybe that might cause things to really go higher. As a consensus, 1720 is that price target, representing a 28.9% upside from these current levels. These are some of the transactions occurring on the secondary market, the big ones being primarily selling. So definitely institutions aren't really buying the SoundHound dip. You do see some buying periodically, but what really did bring it down first thing was just kind of a lot of selling. So feel free to pause it and look at the timestamp. But again, most of which did happen at the beginning part. These are some of the transactions occurring on the dark pool. So one big one did occur at 9:30, 14.9 million. Based on the price action at the time, it does signal that it was probably someone that sold. And it's shorts and hedge funds that are the ones that like to use the dark pool. So it is fair to assume some hedge fund out there that had at least more than 1 million shares of SoundHound did sell out. So not necessarily the best. Like I said, I think even though there's a lot of fear surrounding SoundHound, it's days like this that you buy, and or even just dollar cost average. And then a couple months from now, people always like look back and be like, hey, I wish I bought at 13. Even when it was most recently at like the $18, $19 range, people like, hey, I really wish it goes back down to 13. I am going to load the boat. Well, here we are. So for those of you that have been saying that, put your money where your mouth is, because technically even a couple months down the line, you're going to be looking back and hopefully wish that you did buy at these prices. So let me know your viewpoint on that. Might be unpopular opinion though, but looking at SoundHound, so this is open door. So with it right now at 1330, looking at the 4 hour, so more specific for today, it is trading currently between this S1 and this S2. So 1269 is going to be a strong support. Hasn't been tested and most likely won't be tested for the next little bit. And then 1367 and 1525 is going to be the next strong target / resistance point. So at least in the short term, just watch for that 1367 to be that key pivot. So let me know your thoughts on SoundHound. Are you taking advantage and buying the dip? Are you selling out? What's your general thoughts on SoundHound? But one final thing, if you are looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, pop over to my Patreon. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.